Very good morning. You're watching Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya, and these are the Parliament headlines. Rajya Sabha to discuss bill to amend the POCSO Act. Bill seeks to include death penalty for aggravated sexual assault on children. Government to introduce Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill in the Upper House. Bill aims to amend the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Right to Information Amendment Bill also on agenda for passing. And three key bills listed in today's agenda in the Lok Sabha: the Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Bill and the National Medical Commission Bill listed for consideration and passing. Several key bills are listed in today's agenda in the Rajya Sabha. The House will today discuss the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019 for consideration and passing. The bill to amend the POCSO Act by including death penalty for aggravated sexual assault on children will be discussed. The bill provides stringent punishments for other crimes against minors and was moved by Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani on Tuesday. The minister expressed hope that a productive discussion in the House on the proposed amendments will strengthen the government's resolve to provide more legal and administrative protection to the country's children. Meanwhile, other than that, the government is expected to introduce the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2019 in the Rajya Sabha today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will introduce the bill that further amends the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. And Jitendra Singh will move the Right to Information Amendment Bill 2019 to amend the Right to Information Act 2005 for consideration and passing. The bill was passed by the Lok Sabha on Monday. All right, Kriti Mishra, our colleague, is now joining us live from Parliament. Kriti, talking first about Rajya Sabha today, yesterday we saw that a very key bill, that is the POCSO Amendment Bill, was introduced in the House. And, Smriti Irani, the Women and Child Development Minister, was hoping that a very productive discussion on the same bill will take place today. So can we expect a good discussion on that particular bill? And besides that, two key bills are going to be introduced as well in the Upper House?
Absolutely, Aishwarya. The POCSO Amendment Bill was introduced in the Upper House yesterday, and WCD Minister Smriti Irani exuded confidence that there will be a fruitful discussion on this particular bill. This bill seeks to enhance the definition of child pornography and also seeks to provide for stringent punishment in case of violations to curb sexual offences against children. There are other important bills like the RTI Amendment Bill. Remember, when this bill was passed in the Lok Sabha, the opposition had alleged that this particular bill will weaken the institution of Information Commission and also said that this is against the federal structure. But the government had clarified that this bill will not weaken the institution of Information Commission, rather strengthen the RTI Act, and also this bill would be moved for consideration and passage in the Rajya Sabha today. There's another important bill slated to be introduced in the Rajya Sabha, which is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill. The Cabinet had approved the amendments to provide a deadline of 330 days for corporate resolution and make the entire resolution process hassle-free, speedy, and also smoothen the entire process, and the decision of the resolution would be binding on all stakeholders. So this is a very important bill that would be introduced in the Rajya Sabha today. So important bills lined up in the Upper House. Aishwarya?
Right. Kriti, stay with us. We'll just come back to you. And key bills are also listed in today's agenda in the Lok Sabha for consideration and passing. The Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Bill 2019 is listed for consideration and passing. Now, this bill aims to further amend the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the Banning of Unregulated Deposit Schemes Bill 2019 for consideration and passing. And besides this, the National Medical Commission Bill 2019 has also been listed for consideration and passing. Union Minister Dr. Harshvardhan will move the bill to provide for a medical education system in our country that improves the access to quality and affordable medical education, ensures the availability of adequate and high-quality medical professionals in all parts of the country. All right, let's go back to Kriti Mishra. Kriti, talking about Lok Sabha, It is a very important bill, that is the National Medical Commission bill, because, of course, it is going to, influence the quality of medical education in our country. This bill is listed for consideration and passing. Besides that, the banning of unregulated deposit schemes bill is there, and the unlawful activities amendment bill is also listed for consideration and passing. How do you look at the day likely to pan out in the Lok Sabha?
Well, Aishwarya, the government has reiterated its commitment for overhauling and also making comprehensive changes in the medical education system of the country. And remember, earlier the Medical Council Amendment Bill was also passed by Parliament, and now this is a very important bill, which is the National Medical Commission Bill, to make the entire process of medical education and admission very transparent, to regulate the fees by private players. This will supersede the Medical Council of India, the Board of Governors, and also this bill will make sweeping changes in the medical education system, wherein the last or the final year of MBBS would be called the next or the national exit test for the doctors to begin their medical practice. So that is a very important bill. As you've also mentioned, there's also prevention of unlawful activities. This bill highlights government's commitment, which is zero tolerance towards terrorism, to designate a person who is suspected to have links with terrorists as terrorists. There's another important bill, which is the banning of unregulated deposits, which is to tighten noose around the Ponzi scheme. So important bills in the lower house as well. Aishwarya?
All right, Kriti, thank you for all those updates there from Parliament. And following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Rajya Sabha today. Santosh Kumar Gangwar for the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Hardeep Singh Puri for the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Krishan Pal for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. G. Kishan Reddy for the Ministry of Home Affairs. Nityanand Rai also for the Ministry of Home Affairs. And Ratan Lal Kataria for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. And following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Lok Sabha today. Ravi Shankar Prasad for the Ministry of Law and Justice. Shripad Yesu Naik for the Ministry of Defence. Jitendra Singh for the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. Hardeep Singh Puri for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Arjun Ram Meghwal for the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises. Dhotre Sanjay Shamrao for the Ministry of Communications. And Angadi Suresh Channabasappa for the Ministry of Railways. That's it in this edition of Today in Parliament. Do stay tuned. The proceedings of the House are going to commence at 11 a.m. in about 6 minutes from now. Thanks for watching.
Million people have now given the thumbs up to Rajya Sabha television. RSTV's growth has been phenomenal, with the journey from 2